Thank you, sir.
Am I audible? Oh, am I audible? Good morning, everybody. Now I'll be starting my talk. Now this is contemporary times in medical science, personal experiences and now the present time is yeah. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, now you can audible. Before that you are not audible.
Okay. Has flustered this year marked by the World Health Organization related to bad coronavirus and might have originated from bat-borne virus in the wet markets of Wuhan. This is a highly infectious virus and the disease was named COVID-19. The modes of spread we already know. The transmission is by direct contact with infected person via respiratory droplets cause indirect contact by contaminated surfaces. And now a new concept has emerged that there can be airborne transmission also, and this has been validated by World Health Organization also. The asymptomatic and pre-symptomatic cases, they can also transmit the infection, and this is the biggest hurdle in stopping the chain of short of smell and taste. Though some patients may have diarrhea and vomiting, it is 2 to around 5 days. Most of the patients, they recover from the disease, but around 2 to 5% of the patients, they can have some complications like ARDS, multisystemic syndrome in children, myocarditis, acute kidney injury, Guillain-Barré syndrome, stroke. And this is important thing or develop ability. Now these are the individuals who are who are at high risk of this disease or they patients are having hypertension, diabetes, artery disease, chronic lung disease. Now, how long coronavirus survives on different surfaces? This virus is destroyed at temperature of 56 degrees centigrade. It remains in aerosols for around 3 hours. It survives on copper for 4 hours and cardboard for around 24 hours. It survives on stainless steel and plastic surfaces for 2 to 3 days. So we should be very careful whenever we touch any surface. It is very important that we should wash our hands because we may contact the virus from that surface. Now, because there is no definitive treatment for this disease, so we have to take precautions to prevent the surge of cases. Now, there is a surge of cases after unlock. The reason behind this is India is a populous country and people are not so literate to understand the precautions and gauge the severity of the situation. And due to crowded areas, at many places, social distancing is not possible everywhere. And even the educated ones following the precautions and advisory, they are not following it properly. And major omission occurs when we are amongst our close relatives, close friends, or colleagues, where we take it granted that we can be without our mask or without any other precautions, and then the risk of contacting the infection it rises very much. How to prevent the infection? The basic thing is we have to follow the basic principles like hand washing, wearing the mask, social distancing, cough and sneeze etiquette, avoid going out unless it is necessary, desist from going to crowds, refrain from traveling, and if it is urgent, better to use personal work vehicle rather than going through the public transport. We should avoid dining outside, and it is better to exercise at home or open spaces. And educational institutes should remain closed till the vaccine comes or the pandemic regresses, and online teaching should be promoted. Now, what is the impact on healthcare of this pandemic? Pandemic-associated mitigation efforts have assured delivery of and access. The first wave is the fact which is immediate mortality and mortality of 19, and then there is impact of source restriction on urgent non-COVID conditions. These patients are not third wave of they are not being taken care of, and fourth wave will be of psychic trauma, mental stress, economic injury, and visiting emergency for infants has markedly decreased. It has also resulted in interrupted medical treatments and suboptimal management of chronic diseases. There is decrease in child as well as adult immunizations, and which can have daunting effects later on. And there is postponement of elective medical procedures, but it may result in non-urgent procedures becoming urgent later on. There is also increase in mental health issues with patients needing help for increased anxiety, depression, and insomnia. The OPD visits have markedly decreased, as this figure is showing that from the baseline there is a drastic increase, but now after opening up it is rising, but still it has not reached the baseline. This is the data from the US, and different color shows different states of the United States. So this is causing huge financial impact on healthcare, especially individual practitioners and small hospitals. Patients' paying capacity has also reduced due to job losses, less income, and loss of insurance cover. Now the telemedicine, a new concept, has come up in a big way, and it is acting as a savior for both patients and healthcare providers. But it also has certain limitations, as details provided by the patient may not be properly interpreted by the clinician, and that may affect his assessment of condition, diagnosis making, and further treatment. Now, this is very important. So many ethical dilemmas have come up during this pandemic. This devastating pandemic has induced unprecedented influx of patients in the ICU and has raised ethical concerns not on triage and withdrawal of life-supporting decisions, but also regarding family visits and quality of end-of-life support. So some of the critical ethical decisions which were taken in the ICU were prediction of number of years a patient can live. So the younger patient is preferred for admission in ICU. The presence of comorbid illnesses, that patient is not preferred. And to remove life support from a deteriorating patient with minimal chances of recovery to benefit another. So these are very difficult ethical decisions which have to be taken during this pandemic. At the same time, some people are indulging themselves in unethical practices. Corporate hospitals, they are charging exorbitantly and generating inflated bills for treatment, and there should be capping on treatment charges for COVID-19. There are certain drugs which have been approved for treatment of moderate to severe disease, and there are reports that these drugs are sold at very high rates, many times their original price, or even the duplicate drugs being sold. So these unethical practices should be strictly curbed. Now, what are facts and myth busters? The most important, hydroxychloroquine. This drug has been in major controversy right since the beginning. This was approved by ICMR for prophylaxis in India,
in the March, and then later a study was published in the Lancet, the journal, that which showed that this drug is not at all effective, rather than it can result in increase in mortality of the COVID patients. But now recently, the Lancet has published that this was a fraudulent study, and editors of the Lancet and the NEJM, they have told that pharmaceutical companies, they are so financially powerful that they pressure them to accept such papers. And finally, the Lancet has retracted the hydroxychloroquine study. So in my opinion, there is no harm in taking hydroxychloroquine as a prophylaxis for healthcare workers, as well as the attendants of the COVID-19 patient. The mask should not be worn while exercising, because during exercises, the person may experience breathing difficulty, as well as the sweat may cause the wetting of the mask. It is better to maintain social distancing while we are exercising. The likelihood of shoes spreading COVID-19 is very low. Prolonged use of medical masks, it neither causes CO2 intoxication nor oxygen deficiency. So we should be relieved from this, that wearing of mask will cause some damage. Most people who get the disease, they recover. Thermal scanners, they cannot detect the disease. Drinking alcohol doesn't protect against disease. Similarly, disease does not spread from houseflies or mosquito bites. Exposure to sun does not protect from disease, and changes in weather by temperature, they have no effect on virus. Taking a hot bath does not prevent from the disease. Similarly, we should not use UV lamps or hand dryers to disinfect our hands or other parts of the body, as UV lamp can damage the skin, it can affect the eyes also. Similarly, rinsing nose with saline or eating garlic does not prevent the disease, though garlic can increase the immunity of the individual. And vaccines against pneumonia does not prevent against this particular disease. Now, because many businesses have facing difficulties, at the same time, there are some emerging business opportunities. Pandemic has had unprecedented effect not only on health, but also on global economy. So telemedicine has come up, and experts in this, they are helping healthcare professionals to increase their reach, also helping in providing patient service and health record maintenance. Artificial intelligence chatbot services, they are also providing adaptable solutions to the telemedicine. Similarly, cloud computing is also coming up. Pharmaceutical companies, they are taking help of cloud computing companies for secure and early vaccine development. The education industry, because now it is only online teaching is going on, so they are also using innovative tools, and there is demand for learning management softwares as well as artificial intelligence empowered tools to assist in adherence and validating candidates. Manufacturing industry is also finding flexible solutions to meet supply chain demands. Breweries and wineries, they are making sanitizers, and automotive industry, they are developing masks and ventilators. E-commerce has come up in a big way, and it is also helping in growth of suppliers and delivery companies also. Online payment platforms, they are working to create more digital options, solutions for customers, so that it reaches audience irrespective of educational and financial background. The fitness industry is also adapting digital instruction modules, combining sale of equipment with live and recorded classes, generating revenue. Gaming industry is also widening monetization through subscription models. So we can see in all these things, what is being used is digitalization. So that is coming up in a big way. Now, vaccine, this is a ray of hope in these times of disaster or on these desperate times. And we hope that a vaccine comes as early as possible. And Russia is the first country to register its vaccine on 12th of August within 2 days. And US government is also funding 3 vaccine candidates. There are around 120 candidates in the world which are in different phases of trials. So US is funding 3 vaccine candidates under Operation Warp Speed. The India also developing its vaccines. They are in phase 2 trials. There are 2 candidates, Covaxin and Zycov-D. And Serum Institute of India is to begin trials of vaccine of University of Oxford and AstraZeneca. Now, the key messages are pandemic has not only rattled health infrastructure and humanity, but has had deep economic impacts also. Best way to safeguard ourselves is to strictly follow preventive instructions and advices.
It is time to innovate new healthcare models to provide services to patients suffering from chronic diseases, ensuring safety of both healthcare providers and patients. Novel business models, they are obligatory to boost dwindling economy, maintaining balance between health and economy, that is very important. And vaccine, it is the need of the hour, and accelerated sincere efforts should be made for its development. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arun. It was a very enlightening talk by Dr. Vinay. I will take up from where he has left. He has discussed all what is happening with the coronavirus with the patients. He emphasized that there was a lot of stress among people. And the things that I have been experiencing in my field in these times of corona is that stress has worked two ways on the patients. One, since everyone was on a lockdown, the families were together at home. Initially, during the lockdown, it was kind of a party time because families had a lot of time together. So there was a lot of cooking being done, innovative dishes being made, which led to a lot of use of fried foods and refined flour in the first phase of the lockdown. It was being displayed on all social media handles by every family. And with that, what we noticed was that there were very high, the cases with diabetes, hypertension, hypercholesteremia, they were on the rise in those days. And we were getting patients after about a month of lockdown with complaints of these, with high sugar levels, hypertension on the rise. Another factor was happening was there was a lot of stress during that time. So that was also a contributing factor. So what we noticed was that the intake of refined flour, oils and all and sweets had got up a lot during the first phase of the lockdown. But in some cases, since people had a lot of time at hand, they used it for a lot of exercise. So it was working both ways in relation with diet and exercise. So the recommendations that I have for people at times of corona is that we need to maintain a balance in our diet. This is the time when you need to keep your immunity at its maximum, because that is what is going to protect you, even if you counter the disease, to keep you healthy, so that your comorbidities, in case they are there, they're minimal level, and you can it helps you pass through these times with an easy access. So what we need to do is cut down on all the things that I've talked earlier, refined flours, take a lot of complex carbohydrates. We need to increase in our diet cereals like ragi, bajra, jowar. Even if you're taking flour, you can mix some flours with it. You can mix soya bean flour, you can mix chana atta, you can mix bran to it, to make your atta that you're taking in the kitchen to be a complex carbohydrate. Have a lot of fruits and fresh vegetables in the form of salads and fruits, because they are going to add a lot of fiber to your diet, and all the gut of our body, which is producing the good microorganisms, needs a lot of fiber to work on to produce those good immunity boosting vitamins in the body. Then we need to increase our intake of proteins. Instead of gorging on carbohydrates, we need to change our cooking style and change our eating patterns so that we have a lot of proteins in our diet. You can take proteins in the form of dals. You can be taking eggs if you're a non-vegetarian, chicken, fish. Avoid mutton as that is the high-fat red meat. But you can have a soya bean added to your meals, which is the best quality vegetarian protein. Then we have... there has a lot of been talk in the recent times on going back to our roots. So avoid refined oil as much as possible along with the refined flour. You can use mustard oil for your cooking, which is local to our region and is very good in fatty acid composition. Along with this, you can, to some dishes, you can add desi ghee if you want, if you're not suffering from hypercholesteremia and all. And you need to add also some seeds to your diet. You can add seeds like watermelon seeds, flax seeds. These will help raising your immunity levels because these provide you with micronutrients. Then you can add a little of nuts to your diet. Something like almonds you soaked overnight. You can have a few in the morning. You can have akroat in the morning soaked overnight. So all these things will also add to your diet. Then fruits I have talked earlier. Along with this, things like amla, which is a very good source of vitamin C. Lemons, which will add to your vitamin C and help increasing your immunity. Green tea. Even some herbs like tulsi, dalchini, ashwagandha. These will add to your immunity boosting if you're having them in the day. You need to keep yourself, give a lot of vitamin A to yourself, which comes from green leafy vegetables. Though they're not too much in season, but still spinach and some green leafy vegetables are in season right now. You can have carrots, which are available. You can have pumpkin. You can have papaya. You can then zinc and selenium, as I've talked earlier about oil seeds. These will add zinc and selenium to your diet, which again helps in immunity boosting. Chia seeds, I've talked earlier, flax, sunflower, all these are going to add. Then one more thing that you can add to your diet is probiotics. Instead of having milk, which otherwise also is not very good for adults, you can add curd to your diet. And instead of the normal curd, you can have the probiotic curd, which is now available in the market from a lot of companies. People with gastric disturbances, it is very good for them to have the probiotic curd. Or you can have probiotics like Yakult or something. You can have it for a few days, leave it, then again have it. This will also help in immunity boosting. And along with this, what you need to do is keep yourself very well hydrated. In this heat of the summer, you need to take a lot of fluids. You can have water as much as possible. You can have lassi, you can have nimbu pani, all the drinks. Avoid the sugary drinks like shakes and all. If you're having your shakes without the sugar or minimal sugar, they are very good. Along with this, a very good exercise level. Anyone, because we are confined to the house, our activity levels have gone down drastically. Everyone was complaining of weight gain in the initial months of the lockdown. But slowly, as the lockdowns opened, now you don't have to go to parks which are congested, but just around your house, you can take a stroll, the terrace of your house. You do yoga. There's so much exercise available online on YouTube and all these channels. You can see any exercises and do it in the vicinity of your house without going anywhere. You can do yoga, which will help you a lot. The breathing exercises, pranayam, Kapalbhati, all these things will add to immunity boosting in these times. Plus, since the stress levels are very high, which are extremely high, professions are being hit, youngsters are suffering from loss of jobs and everything. So meditation can also help you in these times. If you can devote a few minutes of a day, say 15 to 20 minutes a day or 10-15 minutes a day to meditating. This will really help you in the long run, as it will calm your mind, keep you off stress. You can listen to mild music, which is again a very big stress buster. Then another thing which is a very big stress buster is chatting with your friends. We have all the time in our hands. I think no one can give an excuse currently that you don't have time for anyone. So pick up your phone, which is also in your hand the whole day, and call your friends. They are the best stress busters. So let's make the maximum use of this time instead of cribbing about it. I know the time is really bad. It's even getting worse with the lockdowns being open and the cases being on a rise, medical conditions being so bad around. But still, we have to see a brighter side in the darkness that we have around us and try them and make the most of it with whatever we have available on our hands. With that, I will rest my talk and give it over to Dr. Arun.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन और अरुण जी लॉट ऑफ थैंक्स कि आपने मुझे इस योग्य समझा मैं यहाँ आके और कुछ बोल पाऊँ theoretical नहीं बोलूँगी but you know whatever practically I have experienced in these few months of course it has been a trying time for everyone or generally the questions you know which are stressing everyone is that how to keep well kahin mujhe na ho jaye you know stuff like that and parental anxiety being transmitted even to children and I being a pediatrician I mean of course everyone is worried about children but then we are worried also about their health so basically you know I want to say that everyone knows that WHO says that the definition of wellness is not just absence of disease but it is you know physical, mental, social, and spiritual aspects. So, well, you know, social aspects everyone has been practicing even extraordinarily, like all these Facebook, WhatsApp, this, that. That is all social. So, that's perfectly fine. But the other aspects, you know, physical aspects, the mental aspects, the spiritual aspects, they are absolutely severely affected in these trying times. Now, I would say that the concept of wellness, as Ekta said, that eat this, eat that, do exercise, this and that, they are very, very valid points. But wellness is not something, you know, which you can just switch on. You have to be actually habitual of practicing wellness. And it's not too late that, you know, you start today. Now, the thing is this, that in food, you know, everything good is so much documented and this thing. But affordability is also a factor. And in fact, you know, practically we have seen the cases that, you know, now so much is being talked about chia seeds, pumpkin seeds, this grass, that grass, wheat grass, galoya, this and that. So in fact, you know, people are panicking. They are just ordering online stores and they are taking those things which they are not habitual. And I being an allergic specialist, the cases of, you know, mouth ulcers, cases of skin allergy, etc. also rose. So, well, I mean, there is nothing to defy that you should not do these things, but I would say that in these trying times, it's, you know, better to use all those products for which we are used to. So the thing is that, and also affordability is a factor. We are now talking about masses, you know, whatever, feeling for a majdoor, feeling for my maid, feeling for everybody, you know, everyone, nutrition, health is everybody's right. So we should actually be advising, as doctors, we should be advising that what is in their kitchen which can be best used rather than, running after fancy products. And of course, there are ample number of people who every day also take fancy products. So for them, this advice is absolutely valid. The spiritual health is also something, which you can, if you are habitual of practicing, it's very good, but you can start even from today. Why not? Because, spirituality is ingrained in our culture, and now we have a lot of time. We have to just look inwards if we are not able to look outwards. So meditation has been a very good suggestion. But what is most important to us as doctors is that physical health. It was such a pleasure when people were coming, children were coming to the clinic, and we were able to sort of, smile at them, hug them. All those things are not possible now. So we are also at a loss, and our patients are also at a loss. But there is no doubt that telemedicine has come in a big way. And in fact, it is not so that we have started practicing telemedicine just today, but we were practicing telemedicine even before. Because, for everyday contact, of course, doctor is very, very important. I mean, the patient comes, you feel the pulse, you take the temperature, you take the blood pressure, you make him lie down, you look at him, and he will feel very assured. But suppose if you need specialist care, super specialist care. For example, I will give you my example that I, being an allergy specialist, if as such patients come from far off, because unfortunately the allergy facilities are not many in our country. So patients, when they come from far off, we do the allergy test, then we give them a protocol. We also give them a written emergency protocol. We explain the techniques, this and that. But after initial visit, anybody who has come from far off, he cannot come so many times. So then we were actually resorting to telemedicine. We were taking their inputs on email. We were taking their inputs on WhatsApp. We were asking for their videos, etc., etc. And it was working very fine for, people who were distant from us. And maybe they had to come only 4 times in a year and not regularly. But now in trying times of COVID, practically you have to look after everybody on telemedicine unless on telemedicine you decide that face-to-face is very essential. Now, I'll give you an example of, what I faced very recently. There was a professor in the Punjab University itself, and he must have seen somewhere on Google that I practice pediatrics and also telemedicine. So he gave me a call that my child is, crying incessantly, and what should I do? Where can I come and meet you? So naturally, incessant cry in a child is definitely an emergency situation. But at this time, till he could come to me or I could decide that whether he should come to me, I just told him that do you mind if I, see your child on a video call? So I saw the child on a video call. Then I really found that the lips of the child are absolutely parched. And of course, I took some history also. Then he said that he's just refusing to eat and this and that. So I thought that definitely there must be something else than just little dehydration. So I told him that why don't you do one thing? Start giving little water with katori and spoon to the baby. And then meanwhile, let's see whether child passes urine or not. And then I told him that send me 1 minute video also of the child that what all you are doing. And, when he sent the video, I saw that to the diaper, they had applied a pin. And I was just thinking that, maybe this pin is piercing the baby. So I told them that, just release the diaper, release the pin, make his clothing absolutely loose. And by that time, they had given some water also. So then the child passed urine and child had gone off to sleep. But meanwhile, I had arranged that which will be the nearest clinic, where he will be able to take his child, suppose if the crying doesn't stop. So all that I organized. So after 1 hour, when I called the father, then I told him that, did you take the child to the hospital where I suggested it's better to take him? So he said, no, he's sleeping. So 11 o'clock again, I was worried more for the patient than the father and mother because they could see that the child was sleeping, but I could not see. So I called him again that, what about the child? I hope everything is all right because that hospital where I told you to take, they can still entertain your baby. He said, no, ma'am, the child is sleeping. In the morning again, I called and he said, child is sleeping very comfortably. There is no cry. So I was so happy that, in telemedicine also so much could be seen. I could see the dehydrated lips. I could see the pin because if he would come to me, otherwise I would not see his home environment. And meanwhile, I also observed that their baby was so little at the crawling stage, and they had switches here and there. They had medicines bottle which were at approachable height, etc., etc. So next day, actually, I could counsel them that how to shield children from accidents because all these accidents are so common. They had put one jot, the diya on the floor, and if the child would crawl, child would have burn injuries. So all such things were possible on telemedicine. And I later on also, I mean, they remained in touch because of the immunization, etc. And the child was perfectly fine, and the routine advice was being given to this. So I would say that it's not something that which we cannot do on telemedicine. Now another patient, complained, a parent complaint of severe tummy ache in the child and diarrhea, and send me the photo of the bottom of the child. So I could see that there was perianal excoriation. I said that send me the video of the tummy. So I could see that there was, no abdominal breathing. The breathing was normal. There was no abdominal distension. And the child was not putting his hand again and again. Child was not crying. And I could see that on the anus, there was perianal excoriation. It was absolutely red. And I could see in the stool that there was undigested food particles, which was absolutely clearly visible, if I told them to send a close-up. So I could diagnose that this was secondary milk intolerance. And by advising them diet on phone, that what should they do, how should they treat the bottom of the child, what modifications they should do to give lactose-free formula. And I could also see that when there was photo of the genitalia, the testes were absolutely in the scrotum. So which means that undescended testes was not there in the male child. So I want to say that at least from my experience, I feel that if we have things in my mind that what should I look for in such a situation, then telemedicine can be successful. Lot of allergy patients have been, contacting me. So I advise them on phone that how to take the inhaler correctly, and they send the video whether they are taking the inhaler correctly or not. And lot of allergy workup, giving them the allergy questionnaire, asking for their problems, then asking the details about their home environment, asking the details about their, occupation, asking aggravating factors. All this was happening in the clinic, and it was the history taking itself was taking 1 hour. But all that history taking is possible now on phone and on WhatsApp, on sending the questionnaire, on getting the answers. So we as doctors need a lot of time to practice telemedicine. But I think it is easy to arrive at the conclusion that even if I have to do face-to-face with a patient, then what exactly I'm going to do, which I can do in minimum time, so that there is no exposure. Because we are not as medicos worried about our exposure, but we are also worried about patients' exposure. Say, for example, a lady from Bhatinda called me and she said, I want to bring my son to you. And I said, how will you bring? She said, I'll travel in the bus. So I said, you will travel in the bus? And I was just thinking that, she has to change the bus. The journey itself can give her a lot of exposure. And coming, okay, if you need to come, you have to come. There is no shortcut. But then I just consoled her that, look, there is nothing which will be lacking if we sort out your problem on phone. And let us first try and sort out on phone, on video, etc. And if you still need to come, then, you should somehow arrange an independent transport and then come. So let's see but her problem was sorted out on telemedicine. So what I mean to say is that we have to be absolutely reassuring in our mind that if a patient complains of a problem, what are we going to look for, and what are we going to get best out of telemedicine? Because of course this is not the best, because we will still be missing the stethoscope, BP. Of course, nowadays people have the electronic BP monitors, so they can still give us the BP chart. But that patient to doctor contact is definitely missing. But then we have to make use of the best in these trying times. Also, reassuring, like vaccinations. Some people were asking me that now my child is due for vaccination and what should I do and this and that. But the thing is that for vaccinations, the initial vaccinations definitely have to be started on time, and we can actually take all the safety precautions, etc. But the boosters, etc., can be delayed. And for the vaccination, there was such a crisis that even adults from Delhi, etc., are ringing up that doctor, we want to take MMR because this is supposed to protect us and this and that. So naturally, then you have to do the literature search and you have to tell them that, it's not something that it is going to save you. It's not something which is actually needed. So why panic? Because see, most important precautions to my mind are that, okay, teach them proper masking, that they have to wear proper mask. And especially I have seen that even on TV, a lot of educated people, they remove the mask while they are talking, and no social distancing. So all those things you have to teach. Hand washing, even children are learning hand washing, and in fact children are actually guiding adults, like my brother's grandson. 1-1 घंटे में साबुन लगा के, दादाजी हाथ नहीं धोए, दादाजी मैंने साबुन लगा लिया, हाथ धुला दो. So which means that the responsibility on us adults to actually set examples in front of children and teach them the right techniques, and they definitely follow. There is nothing which children cannot learn. We have to be responsible. Now we are all the time blaming the online classes, etc., etc. But just think that, are we okay, just give me 2 minutes. These are very important topics, if not in COVID times. But tell me, how many parents are abusing the children by sending as little as 1.5 year old into the so-called play school classes? So is that not waste of time and waste child abuse by parents? So this is not COVID time. We have to actually restrict the online classes. We have to take up case with the government that below 10, at least online classes should not be there. Home is also a best learning place. Why can't they learn when everyone is at home, the grandparents are home? And of course, when online classes are being taken, even for adults and children, whatever, but eye exercises for which Dr. R. Kumar is the right doctor to teach, but those also have to be emphasized, that in between the eyes have to be refreshed and relaxed. So in general, I would say that whatever precautions are being followed, we as doctors owe our responsibility to practice telemedicine sensibly, and we as doctors have the responsibility to feel for another person, that okay, if he is a mazdoor, he is my maid, why not give ration for 2-3 months from my own house? After all, everyone needs something or the other, for survival. So being sensitive is also a part of well-being. You yourself will feel good, and they will also feel good, and then they will follow your instructions more properly. And not panicking is also a very, very essential thing, which we have to actually ensure by being constantly an example to them, that of course we are doing so many things for their well-being. So that's all, and thank you for giving me time, and I'm sorry if I have overshot the time, but there is so much to talk, because every day new information is emerging that people can see online, but your own experience is your own experience. Thank you everyone. अच्छा, मैं डॉक्टर रुपिंदर को बहुत बहुत कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट कर एक मिनट, डॉक्टर रुपिंदर को मैं बहुत कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट करना चाहती हूँ इस पहल के लिए। थैंक यू, अब नहीं बोलूंगी। ओके।
Am I audible, Dr. Arun? First of all, I thank and congratulate Dr. Arun and his whole team for doing this program and inviting me also. So, and with the permission of the chair, Dr. Rupinder Kaur, madam, I will like to say something. I will restrict my words to my field, that is microbiology. At the outset, I will like to say that microbiology has its own role to play. वो कहते, मेरे को याद आ रहा था, वो कहते हैं ना, बर्बाद तो मुझे तुम्ही ने किया है, इल्जाम किसी और पे जाए तो अच्छा. So microbiology has a major role to what has happened. It has proved that microbiology also has a major role to play. And with respect to COVID-19 and personal experiences, when I talk about microbiology, I will always say that it has taught us that how we have to give due importance to the little things. And always the little things sometimes matter more in the life than the bigger things. And I think it is now proven that we have to give due importance to each and every subject. And something regarding microbiology, something regarding these microbes should be taught to general public also. So that when in these types of testing times, they can take care of the things. And like small things I will talk, as Dr. Lavasa has also mentioned, that how we have to wear the mask, how we have to wash the hands, all things we have to, if we learn it from microbiological viewpoint also, this gives more impact and more useful results. Further, I would like to add regarding lots of these sanitizers and all that, I think along with we have some social responsibility also to all the manufacturers and all, that what kind of brands are coming into the market, whether they are giving it for proper composition or not, all these things has to be seen. But at the same time, I will like to add that I see the things in a two-way. First of all, we have to learn the things. Learning means, as I have said, that we have to learn that how we can take care of what I will say bad microorganisms, the disease-causing microorganisms, how we can take care of viruses and all that. But equally important is to unlearn the things. Sometimes we are over-learning the things. We are unnecessarily washing some of the things. We are unnecessarily doing things. And I am just, what I'm trying to put is that I hope this pandemic is over soon. And after that, we have to make our life normal. And to how to take special care in the testing times and how to bring our life back to the normal. Because if in normal life we will try living like this, it might interrupt our day-to-day life. So for that, from microbiological viewpoint, in routine times, it is not required that we have to take all those precautions, but in these testing times we have to. And other thing I have to say is that this time has given us also a great opportunity to try new things. Even in our subject area, new research things have been initiated. And like one very important thing I will say again, a small but important research area, that how we have to discard this waste, how we have to reuse this waste. So because if we are just throwing these masks, these kits, or anything like this in the open, what kind of environmental problem we can generate. I think that also has to be taught to the people in a very good viewpoint. Hello? 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 So what I was saying is that we have to teach the people, and also we have to take care of that we discard all these things properly, we wear our the mask properly so that we don't create the problem for the other. And while wearing the mask also, we have to see that we have to not take care only of ourselves, we have to take the other people also. And it has given us the COVID-19 has also given us the opportunity to develop new things, as I'm saying, new sterilization devices. Where even in our university I have seen, and when I went to CIL, they have devised something so that they can sterilize some of the things. We can sterilize the currency and we can sterilize all those things. So this, what I will summarize, that this pandemic has given us some challenges and some opportunities. Challenges we have to, of course, face. And another observation, as far as the personal observation is concerned, I am seeing that we human beings are very wonderful creatures. We first get adapted to that. What kind of situation when we are put under stress in March, April, we adapted to that stress. Then it came May, June, we had to go out. Then again we adapted to that stress and that change. And once again, I hope this pandemic will be over and our life will come to normal. So from microbiological viewpoint, we should have a little knowledge about the microorganism general public so that we can take care of personal hygiene and so that we can take care of life into routine. And I will request Dr. Rupinder and people like Dr. Arun to conduct more such programs so that we can teach this basic microbiology more to the people, which is more required for the personal hygiene. If we will teach them from technical viewpoint, maybe they will understand it from in a better, and they will be take care from a better viewpoint. Like lots of people ask that, do I need to use a very expensive soap? Do I need to use a very expensive liquid soap and all that? So when we explain it from microbiological viewpoint that all these things are not required, the basic function is that we have to destroy the protein code of the virus and all that, people understand it in a more better way. So that's what I have to say, that basics of these subjects should go to the public so that they can take care of itself and they can take care of the surroundings and all that. So that's what I have to put, Dr. Arun. So that's from my side, and thankful to Dr. Rupinder and Dr. Arun for giving me the opportunity.
एंड काफ़ी लंबे टाइम से डॉक्टर अरुण जी के साथ सोशल सब्सटेंस में काम कर रही हूँ और मुझे इनके साथ काम करके बहुत अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि हर बार ये नया नया कुछ ना कुछ नया करने की सोचते हैं एंड आई एम रियली फील वेरी हैप्पी विद हिम। और उनकी टीम भी बहुत सुंदर काम करती जा रही है एंड थैंक यू अरुण जी, आपने मुझे ये अपॉर्चुनिटी दी। और एंटायर लिस्ट में आई डोंट थिंक सो कि मेरे से छोटा कोई होगा। आई थिंक एंटायर लिस्ट में मैं सबकी जूनियर ही मुझे दिखाई दे रही हूँ और सबसे बहुत सीखने को मुझे मिल रहा है। सो माय टॉपिक इज मेंटल हेल्थ। जैसा कि हम सभी जानते हैं, वी ऑल ऑफ नो कि फिजिकल प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं तो हम डिफरेंट टाइप के डॉक्टर्स, वैरायटी ऑफ डॉक्टर्स के पास जाते हैं। बट मेंटल हेल्थ, हाउ टू जज, हाउ टू ऑब्जर्व, वी डोंट नो। हम मेंटल हेल्थ की तरफ ध्यान ही नहीं देते हैं। एक्सपर्ट्स भी मेंटल हेल्थ को कई बार सबसाइड कर देते हैं। जब ये चीज़ें सबसाइड होती है तो व्हाट हैपेंड एग्जैक्ट, बिकॉज आई एम फेसिंग and number of patients I have जो फिजिकली दिखने में फिट है बट मेंटली बहुत ही ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम में है. So I will discuss with my personal experience nowadays amidst COVID-19. First of all, we need to observe exact what is going with patient and which type of patient that is with whom we are discussing. And we need to observe, is there need of counseling? Is there need of any therapy? So अभी कुछ टाइम पहले हमारे यहाँ कोविड पेशेंट बिल्कुल हमारे घर के सामने आया. So आई एम हियर फेमस एज अ क्लिनिकल साइकोलॉजिस्ट. सो होल बिल्डिंग में एक टेरर बन गया. व्हाट हैपन एंड हाउ वी विल सर्वाइव इनसाइड द flats inside the house. So they started to call me one by one, and I'm talking about my mental health first. So when I found this patient and got this news, what happened with me exact, I was too scared कि exact what will be next, कि 14 दिन के लिए हमें एक बंद कमरे में बंद घर में कैसे रहना है. So first I need to plan for myself, then I start to give advice to others. जब people ने मेरे से कांटेक्ट करना शुरू किया कि प्रेरणा, नाउ इट्स चैलेंज फॉर यू कि हम सभी एक ऐसी प्रॉब्लम के अंदर है कि जिसमें हमें एक साइकोलॉजिस्ट की जरूरत है. एंड नाउ यू हैव टू प्रूव योर सेल्फ, यू आर अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट. एंड I accepted that challenge कि first I need psychotherapy on me, and then I have to give others. So I got here 27 guys. Some were crying badly when they heard the news of a COVID patient, and some was very sad कि next होगा क्या. So when I was talking over phone, so I didn't speak any single word to anybody. I just heard them कि उनका mental level मुझे समझने में time चाहिए कि मुझे exact करना क्या है इनके लिए. क्योंकि 27 guys जब मेरे सामने एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे आते हैं, सबका मेंटल लेवल अलग अलग है, बट आई हैव ओनली 15 days उनको संभालने के लिए. 15 days में मैं ऐसा उनके लिए क्या कर सकती हूँ जिनसे उनको बहुत जल्दी इम्प्रूवमेंट हुई. देन फर्स्ट डे आई डिडंट स्लीप फॉर single minute. I was just thinking, overthinking कि what could I plan for my neighbors and my friend circle and for my building and for my society. So I planned for them. And early morning next day, I made a group on Google Meet, and I added entire list जिन्होंने मुझे कॉल किया था, and give a ring to everyone personally कि मैंने आज एक ग्रुप क्रिएट किया है और आपको सबको आना है उसमें. Then I started to talk everyone, और सब ग्रुप में मिलके सबको बहुत अच्छा लगा, बिकॉज सबके अंदर एक डर था कि हम कैसे करेंगे. हम जो मॉर्निंग वॉक पे जाते हैं, हम मॉर्निंग वॉक के बिना कैसे रह पाएंगे. हम एक्सरसाइज करते हैं तो हम एक्सरसाइज के बिना कैसे रह पाएंगे. तो मैंने 20 मिनट्स उनसे बात करने में लिया, एंड उन्हें फर्स्ट जो मेरा स्टेप उनके लिए रहा योगिंग जॉगिंग. मैंने उनको घर में ही स्टार्ट करवाया कि योगिंग जॉगिंग आपको घर में ही स्टार्ट करना है. जितने स्टेप्स आप वॉक करते हो, बाहर जाते हो, अपने विंडोज को घर में खोलना है, एसीज को बंद करना है, और आपको उतने ही स्टेप आपको वॉक करनी है घर पे एक ही जगह पर खड़े होके. चलने की जरूरत नहीं है, यू नीड वॉक. जब हम एक ही स्टेप पे करते हैं, दैट इज आल्सो वॉक. एंड दे वर वेरी फीलिंग हैप्पी कि जब उनको लगा कि हम जैसे बाहर बात कर रहे हैं और अर्ली मॉर्निंग हम ऐसे ही हम मॉर्निंग वॉक कर रहे हैं. सो दे फेल्ट वेरी हैप्पी कि हाँ कुछ अच्छा होगा हमारे साथ. एंड आई प्लान फॉर होल डे. I started to 4 sessions for them. First for first for yoga, second session 12 o'clock for pranayam, and third session 4 o'clock meditation and relaxation therapy. And in night time, I started to take the session for happiness course, like couple dance and jogs, like this type. I started to observe everything with them कि हाँ फर्स्ट डे मैंने ये प्लान किया, उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया, उनको अच्छा लगा. सेकेंड डे पेशेंट की फैमिली इन्वॉल्व हुई. जब पेशेंट की फैमिली तक सोसाइटी के ग्रुप से मैसेज गया कि ऐसे ऐसे प्रेरणा पंडित ने ग्रुप को क्रिएट किया है और वो सबके लिए काम कर रहे हैं, तो पेशेंट की फैमिली भी उस ग्रुप में अपने आप रिक्वेस्ट के थ्रू आए और वो ऐड हुए. एंड सेकेंड डे से ही आई एम वेरी हैप्पी कि गॉड चोज मी कि मैं हेल्प कर पाई उन पेशेंट की भी एंड उनकी फैमिली की भी. और वो हमारे 14 डेज कैसे निकले वन बाय वन, और हमारे नंबर्स 27 से हमारे नियर अबाउट 70 हो गए थे, क्योंकि केवल हमारी बिल्डिंग्स के पीपल नहीं, हमारी पूरी सोसाइटी उसमें इन्वॉल्व होना चाह रही थी कि हाँ हमें एक इस डर को निकालना है जो हमारे अंदर है, क्योंकि जितना ज्यादा हम डरेंगे उतनी ज्यादा हमारी ओरा श्रिंक होगी. जितनी ज्यादा ओरा श्रिंक होगी उतना ही ज्यादा जल्दी हम डिजीज और डिसऑर्डर के शिकार होंगे. तो नेचुरल है कि हमें फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी नीड टू फेक आउट आवर फियर. हम उस फियर को निकाल के फेंकना है. सिचुएशन कुछ भी हो सकती है, वी नीड टू वर्क ऑन दैट. हमें प्लान करना है, हमें कैसे उस सिचुएशन को हैंडल करना है, वो हमारे अंदर स्किल होना चाहिए. एंड आई एम रियली फीलिंग वेरी हैप्पी कि जब मैं पब्लिक के फेस पे एक सुबह उठते मुस्कुराहट देखती थी, सब इतने खुश होते थे कि हाँ आज फिर से कुछ नया होगा. एंड दे फील वेरी हैप्पी इन मेडिटेशन. इवन मेडिटेशन को बहुत बोर बोला जाता है. उन्होंने नई नई टेक्निक्स मुझसे सीखी, नई नई टेक्निक्स मैंने उनको दिया, हस्त मुद्रास टेक्निक्स. एंड आई चेंज द डाइट आल्सो फॉर पेशेंट्स फैमिली एंड फॉर सोसाइटी आल्सो, कि हमें इतना हल्का लेना है कि गैस्ट्रिक प्रॉब्लम हमें हो ही ना. हमें ऐसा रहना है घर में कि हमने हमारे जितने भी हमें नीड होती है न्यूट्रिएंट्स की, वो हमारी बॉडी को मिले, बट हमारे स्टमक को हेवीनेस ना हो. हमारे स्टमक में ऐसा हो कि हाँ हमने भरपेट खाया है लेकिन कहीं भी हैवीपन हमें नजर ही ना आए. So they started to take same diet. They started to follow the pattern which I gave to them. And जब हम 7th day पे पहुंचे, what happened exact? I was late only 2 minutes. And I was very happy कि जब उन्होंने मुझसे पहले मुझे लिंक भेजा कि प्रेरणा मैम आप आज लेट हो गए, लेकिन वी हैव क्रिएटेड द ग्रुप फॉर होल पैटर्न विच यू हैव ऑलरेडी गिवन. सो I was very happy कि public are also participating with me. I was not alone, and public was giving me full support. And this is my personal experience with COVID patients, family, and with my whole society, which who are totally scared with COVID. And number of things we started to enjoy amidst COVID. So now all are happy, and they honored me too for that. And I share here this my personal experience, because if I can manage this situation after this degree, after having this degree, so it means degree is not sufficient, experience is sufficient. If any situation we can handle easily, it means we are real psychotherapists or we are expert. And if we are not doing well work in that situation which is in the front of us, it means we feel we have failed. But it's touchwood, with the grace of God and with the grace of all my seniors, we passed this time, and all members are very, very, very happy. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Sure.
आगे सोनी आ गए खत्म हो गया मेरे को
Arun. I'll first start my session with a vote of thanks to all the experts who took out time from their busy schedule to be a part of us. And thank you all to participate in this webinar. As already pointed out by Dr. Vinay, our medical expert, that COVID has affected a lot, and this pandemic not only affected a single country, but it affected all the countries of the world, whether their economic status was high or they were in the developing stage, all the countries, they got affected. Many countries required parameters and upgradation and stresses to improve the community and the healthcare was required. Lots of changes were seen. He had given a very exhaustive point on this, so I'll not touch all of these. I'll just touch the ones we commonly in our health center we did, and the changes we saw here. So we followed the WHO and the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare guidelines, and the facilities in the health center were provided right during the lockdown. We didn't close our health center even in March, when the lockdown was announced on 25th by our honorable president, the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi. We kept on giving all the services. We kept our OPDs on. We kept our pharmacy on. Only our lab was closed for around 4 weeks. After that, even our lab was opened. So we tried to provide all the facilities to the employees of the Punjab University, the retirees and their dependents. The fever cases, they were referred to fever clinic, and whatever COVID cases we got, those were also referred to PGI for further follow-up. Isolation facilities were the people were educated about the isolations, how the isolation is to be done, home isolation, the hospital isolations. So they were educated about those. Now we are already living with the novel coronavirus, and we have started making changes in the healthcare setups, our homes, offices, worship places, the markets, banks, post offices, all such public places, we have started making changes. Still, many of the changes are not up to the mark. We need to control the transmission and maintain personal and community hygiene so that the mortality and morbidity is decreased. Some of the new initiatives which we require, after due approval of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir Shri Rajkumar ji, we require to upgrade some of the facilities in consultation and collaboration from certain departments. Like we are running telemedicine, but we are not running telemedicine as such as is being run by PGI Sector 16 and 32. So I'll request, sir, to permit us to allow teleconsultations in consultation with CIL and CSC. So a separate KISCOs can be set up with the help of the construction department for the elderly people with comorbidities, so that after teleconsultations, the chronic patients can get their prescriptions and get the medicines on those KISCOs on the days of the particular doctor they are in consultation with. Then apart from this, we need some backup emergency handling plans in consultation with disaster group, NSS and other such groups in the Punjab University. Apart from this, I'll also request sir to upgrade BGJI health building as per the National Center for Disease Control, because presently it is not up to the mark as per the COVID guidelines. Lots of countries, even the smaller countries, they got free of the COVID as early as in the first week of May. Small countries like New Guinea and Seychelles, Fiji, Vatican, New Zealand got COVID free just a few months back. If these countries can get themselves COVID free, why not India? We have normally seen that these countries followed the guidelines as provided by their government, but in our country, we don't follow those guidelines up to the mark. So I'll request the public for certain points. These points are as follows. Firstly is, as pointed out by Prerna ma'am, children and elders. And Dr. Lavasa also pointed out certain things about the children pediatric groups she saw, and she tried to overcome those obstacles. So they are the ones who are worst affected during this pandemic. This crisis affected them the most because they were the ones who couldn't get out of the house any of the time for almost 4 to 5 months. And the young population didn't give them much of a heed. They couldn't interact with their friends. They couldn't go in for play. They couldn't go in for walks, for their exercises. So they were the ones who were maximally affected. So we need to work on this particular group, and we need to spend more time, monitor their health, so that their problems can be addressed in a proper manner. As pointed out by Dr. Vinay, Dr. Lavasa, and Dr. Naveen, that in spite of educational efforts by government, media, guidelines given by the Punjab University, still the masks are not used correctly. These masks are not handled properly also. As pointed out by Dr. Naveen, the disposal is not done properly. People keep on touching the masks. At times we see people not wearing the masks. In our health center, we get patients who don't wear masks. Even if they wear a mask, they come to your OPD, they put it down, and then they speak to you. So I'll request the general public not to be negligent in these matters. There should be a proper donning and doffing of the mask. Lots of educative material has already been uploaded in the media. Lots of education has been given from time to time by the government. Still, this is the most neglected part. People keep on touching their masks repeatedly. This should not be done because the outer surface is the most infectious surface. I'll request Dr. Naveen to have a full session on this so that his enlightenment on this will help the general public. As a microbiologist, I think he can put more light on this part of the infection, on the masks, gloves, and washing of hands. Social distancing is also one parameter which we have been stressing upon, but it is not being maintained. in our OPD, we keep on requesting the patients to maintain at least minimum of 2 feet distance, but they don't maintain. So as per the government guidelines, the latest government guidelines, it is 9 feet right now, but people don't even maintain 2 feet distance. In spite of keeping 2 security guards, we are continuously requesting the patients, and those are not being heeded to. So I'll request the general public on this also, that it is for your benefit that all these things are being done. And if you maintain the social distance, correct wearing of masks, proper disposal of masks, you will be saved from corona and any other infections. So these need to be stressed on. The retired employees need to venture out less, and we'll request them not to come themselves, but get their prescriptions telephonically as far as is possible, unless and until their doctor asks them to visit them. They should not visit the health center or the banks, post offices, markets. We have seen them roaming about in those places also. So we'll request all the geriatric age group people to be very careful about these things. The general things we have already discussed, so I'll not go into those. My contribution during the completion of 40 days of lockdown was with association of the alumni group of PU, Social Substance Group, and I had given an educational lecture on general care, common respiratory problems, their prevention and cure. It was uploaded on Facebook and YouTube, and demonstrative lectures were also given on masks, gloves, and hand sanitizations. So these were then further circulated among the sanitation staff, the security staff, for their benefit, so that they could be educated during those times. We distributed sanitizers, masks, and gloves for the security and the sanitization and the sanitary staff, along with the PU alumni group. Apart from this, the well-being of the as pointed out by Prerna ma'am, she has been seeing a lot of mental health issues. The mental health issues have not only been seen in the patients, but also in the among the workers, the healthcare workers, the security staff, sanitation staff, lots of volunteer groups who have tirelessly been working right from the start of the lockdown period, and are still working, are in an exhaustive state. You can see the PGI, OPD, and the emergency, the doctors there, the healthcare staff, the sanitation staff, they are exhausted. And it is very difficult for them to go on with the duties. So it is very important to keep the staff motivated to address upon the improvements, the flexibilities of their roles. Their fears, problems at mental, family level should also be addressed. Harassment of workers has been reported from a few areas. This practice should be disrupted, because this is a challenging time, not only for a small organization, but also for the bigger organizations as well. Acute shortage of all these people, the healthcare, the security, sanitation, the police personals, the volunteers, they need to be addressed. for their thing. I'd like to conclude the session by extending our vote of thanks to Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir Shri Rajkumar ji for his continuous help and cooperation extended to us. I'm thankful to the PU staff. Special thanks to BGJI, of BGJI of Health for their cooperation and working in the time of this crisis. I'll request a special incentive for these people, the medical staff, the security personnel, sanitation and volunteer workers who worked tirelessly during the lockdown period and are still actively serving. Special thanks to the panel of today's webinar, to all the experts and PU Alumni Group, Social Substance, and Dr. Arun Bansal for organizing this webinar. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. जैसे डॉक्टर विनय कह रहे हैं, वैसे व्हाट्सएप एंड फोन पे तो वी आर ऑलरेडी डूइंग द टेलीमेडिसिन, बट पर्टिकुलर टिपिकल एक ऐप के थ्रू जो है, when you are sitting in the health center on your OPD, so that you get to know the all the parameters, means जितने भी उनकी investigations हैं, चाहे वो एक्सरेज हैं, चाहे वो हैं, बाकी उनकी रिपोर्ट्स हैं, डाटा हम रख सके, ये चीज हमारे पास अभी नहीं है, बिकॉज व्हाट्सएप पे हम डाटा को लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन के लिए सेव करके नहीं रख सकेंगे। इंडिविजुअल जो डाटा है हम कितनी देर अपने फोन पे सेव करके रखेंगे, इवन इफ put it in our mail and do it, but it is practically not that feasible in the long run. Definitely for a few patients we can do it, but अगर एक अलग से सर्वर हो और प्रॉपर वहाँ हमारे पास डेस्कटॉप फिटेड, जिसके जो कि सारा डाटा उसका प्रॉपरली रख सके फॉर नेक्स्ट एटलीस्ट 3 to 5 years, तो वो ज्यादा डेडिकेटेड चीज ज्यादा बेटर रहेगी आई थिंक। डॉक्टर नवीन, यू बीइंग हाँ, you being in this field, I think you can understand it better.
Yeah, the only thing which I want to say is that what Rupinder madam said, that app should be developed which can be used throughout the university for the help of the patients, through which we can send prescriptions, keep a record, and all these things which we can do. So that should be developed, which will be helpful to all the doctors, whether they are practicing in dental college or at the health center. So that should be done. Thank you.
डॉक्टर अरुण, एक आपने मेरे टॉक के एंड पे क्वेश्चन रेज किया था दैट पीपल आर टेकिंग टू मच ऑफ वन फूड दैट इज बीइंग प्रिस्क्राइब्ड उधर थ्रू द नेट और ऑल। वहां पे मैं बोलना चाहती कि डाइट में वन थिंग विच इज ऑलवेज टू बी फॉलोड इज मॉडरेशन। किसी भी चीज की कभी एक्सेस ना करें। आप कोई कुछ अच्छा ले रहे हैं, कुछ बुरा ले रहे हैं, एवरीथिंग यू द mantra to be followed is moderation. Second, I am a mother of a 13-year-old, so I totally agree with Dr. Kumar's point of view that the screen time for children has increased so much because of school being on school and everything, on the phone and everything, that his points were really valid. The 20-20-20 mantra, I think I will really teach it to my son, and other children can also benefit from it because it is it is a compulsion these times to do everything on the phone. So it's a big thing. And the mental stress level in children is on the high, as it was mentioned in various talks, that the children are not able to go out. They don't have any interaction with their friends. So we really need to work on the mental level of the children, the mental stress of the children. They are really under stress in these times. So need to
हाँ, अगर मेरी कोई भी हेल्प चाहिए टेलीमेडिसिन के लिए तो मैं ऑफर कर सकती हूँ, क्योंकि बहुत सालों से मैं ये कर रही हूँ और डॉक्यूमेंटेशन वगैरह सब कुछ मतलब आइडियली जैसे होना चाहिए वैसे कर रही हूँ. तो इफ एनीथिंग इज नीडेड बाय मी, आई विल बी वेरी वेरी हैप्पी टू ऑफर माय सर्विसेज.
Yeah, Dr. Arun, I will just reinforce my earlier observation that proper disposal of these masks and kits all is very, very important. And I feel that like social substance, and we can have some special designated places or special bins where we can have these sort of discards, especially in these extreme use times. We are running an association of microbiologists of India. I am the secretary of that. In that association, we are also making efforts. And I think with collaboration of health center and social substance, we can make such some proper arrangements on the proper disposal, at least in our university. And regarding its reuse, we have already initiated some research at Department of Microbiology that how we can reuse. So we should make some effort to educate and to make some places where we can discard this waste. That's what I think. मेरे को वही लग रहा है डॉक्टर अरुण, मेरे को यही लग रहा है पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी वी कैन डेजिग्नेट सम प्लेसेस वेयर सच वेस्ट शुड बी डिस्कार्डेड सो दैट इट विल टेक प्रॉपर. Yeah.
हेलो. यस सर. सर मैं कहना चाहूंगी कि कोविड के अमिस्ट हमें पेरेंट्स के ऊपर ज्यादा काम करने की जरूरत है रादर देन कि हम चिल्ड्रन पे करें, क्योंकि अगर पेरेंट्स का मेंटल हेल्थ स्टेबल है तो वो इजीली बच्चों की एनर्जी को सब कर सकते हैं, इजीली घर के एनवायरनमेंट को अच्छा कर सकते हैं एंड वो अच्छे से अपने घर के माहौल को सुंदर बना सकते हैं. सो मेरी ऑब्जर्वेशन यही है और आई एम ऑलवेज रेडी to serve myself, my duty. So anytime you may contact to me. Thank you. Yes. All the